Hi, everyone, and welcome to Spotlight with Scientists in School. Our guest today is Mary Ann Ferrer. She is a food scientist with the Food Science Department at the University of Guelph. Now, a food scientist focuses on the chemistry, microbiology, and functionality of foods in their original form. Mary Ann's food of focus is milk, and the produce is cheese. Recently, the American Cheese Society awarded Mary Ann the title of Certified Cheese Professional. And to say that Mary Ann is passionate about cheese making is an understatement. Let's head on over to the lab and make some cheese. All right, so welcome to Spotlight with Scientists in School. This is so exciting because who doesn't love cheese? So a very obvious question I need to ask Mary Ann is, do you love cheese?
I love cheese. I cannot live without cheese, actually.
Do you have a favorite cheese?
Yeah, I do have a few. I have to admit that I love cheese curds.
Cheese curds.
Yes.
Like on poutine?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, or either the way, just out of the cheese bags. It just reminds me of the fresh cheeses that we have in my country, Venezuela.
Oh, you're from Venezuela?
I am from Venezuela, yes I am, but I have been living in Canada for 20 years.
So I did some research, of course, and a cheese lover is known as a Titophile, and that's a Greek word, and me being of Greek descent, I found that interesting because tiri means cheese and phile is friend of, so a friend of cheese, I guess. So yeah, so I'm a Titophile too, and I love cheese. All right, I think it's time to make some cheese. So let's do it. What are the steps?
Okay, so let's first understand the ingredients. So we talk about milk, definitely. We need milk to make cheese. But we also have some other ingredients. We can have some bacteria. Bacteria love milk, and then bacteria love cheese, and cheese love bacteria. So with bacteria, we select like very good bacteria that will transform the milk. And we'll use all those nutrients in the milk to generate flavors and aromas that we enjoy so much on the cheese. We also have something called rennet. Rennet is an enzyme, and the role of rennet is to break down the milk. So we can get something from milk that is liquid to a gel, like a gelatin.
Yes.
No? Something that is solid and that we can transform into cheese. We also have another ingredients like calcium and salt. We love salt in cheese, so it kind of increase the flavor and protect the cheese from getting bad. So basically, those are the main ingredients in cheese. We can add other stuff, but those are 90% of the cheese will be only that.
So are you adding the bacteria, or is the bacteria already in the milk?
Yeah, I already have the bacteria in the milk. It takes a little bit of time for bacteria to adjust to the milk.
Okay.
So usually we add it as a first step in the cheese making process. And we add the bacteria. We allow the bacteria to feel comfortable in the milk. So we leave it like an hour or so. And then the bacteria start doing what it likes the best, which is transforming sugar into acids.
You can use other milks to make
yeah.
cheese. So there's cow's milk. I know for sure there's sheep and goat because I eat a lot of feta cheese. How about donkey milk? Could you make cheese out of donkey milk?
Yeah, basically we can make cheese out of any milk that has enough casings for it to coagulate and form a gel. So basically warm up my milk to around 36 degrees. It could be anywhere from 30 to 39 degrees.
Okay.
And I need to add my rennet. Rennet is an enzyme. It comes from the stomach of a calf.
So it's just naturally found in the calf stomach?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and it's extracted and concentrated, into liquid form. We could use some other type of enzymes. Some of the enzymes can come from microorganisms, also for microbes. Some of it can come from even flowers. It's a very concentrated solution. Like this is a very concentrated solution, so I basically dilute it in water a little bit before I start adding to it. So what this will do is that it will transform my liquid milk, as you can see here, into a solid or a semi-solid, a gel. It takes time to do this. It will take between 30 and 40 minutes to coagulate, so we will be able in a few minutes to see how it transforms.
Okay.
And then we will follow with the steps, the different steps that basically aim to reduce the amount of water in the milk so we can get a solid and nice, a concentrated product as cheese.
And all cheese making starts off like this.
99% of the cheese making start this way, yes.
Okay.
There is a group of cheeses, or a small group of cheeses where we don't use rennet, and we just allow the bacteria to acidify and transform the milk. And there is another group of cheeses like ricotta where we boil whey or milk, and then with acid.
So like a vinegar?
Like a vinegar or a citric acid, and then it will coagulate the milk, and we make cheese like ricotta, cheese.
Yes.
We transform the milk into a semi-solid or a gel. You can see it in here. And we get like a sponge or a gel that traps the water inside, and that's how we get this solid or semi-solid gel.
So if you're a vegan,
Yes.
there are other options to add an ingredient like rennet to make cheese.
Yes, definitely. So basically, the technology have advanced so much that we can make a microbe, synthesize the enzyme like almost exactly as the rennet enzyme.
What about people who can't drink milk and you want to have a vegan cheese? What kind of milks are you using for that?
Yeah, there are a few cheeses that have been created, but definitely you need to have milk of some sort. We call really milk to everything that comes from the mama. So vegan milk is not by definition milk.
Right.
But anyways, we call them, there is the popular, use of milk for those ones, and they come from seeds or they come from nuts. And basically what we do is that we extract the protein and we extract the carbohydrate from those ingredients, and we make a whitish liquid out of it, and that's how the vegan cheese will start.
So like a cashew milk.
Yes.
What else would there be? Soy
milk.
What about oat milk? Can you do oat milk?
Yeah, I haven't seen cheese out of oat milk yet, but I'm pretty sure they will come. Yeah.
So I'm still kind of confused at what happens next. How did we get all these different flavors and these colors and textures? What are the next steps?
Yes, that's where the science and the technology plays a role in making cheese, So the first thing that we want is to get rid of the water. And then the more water we get, the drier cheese that we will end up with. For example, feta cheese. Feta cheese is a cheese with a lot of moisture.
Yes.
And if we get rid of more and more and more water, then we can get first cheddar cheese, which is like have an intermediate moisture or water level, and we can get something drier.
Like Parmesan? Would that be considered drier?
Yes, which has much less water than cheddar cheese or feta cheese. And basically what we do is that we change the way we treat this curd that we see here. We can do acidification, we can heat it up, we can mix it, we can press it. And we will see that step very soon, where we can press the cheese so it keeps releasing more and more water. Then we go to the affinage part of it, which is the ripening of cheese, where the microorganisms start eating that. I call it eating. They start transforming proteins, sugars, fats in the cheese. And they can create so many different flavors out of it. So depending on the microorganisms that we have, the amount of salt, the amount of water that we want, that we have in that cheese, well, the microorganisms will do a different process, let's say. Therefore generating all these different flavors and textures and aromas in the cheese. Even colors, they change even the color of it.
So how do you get the orange cheddar cheese? What are they adding?
Yeah, okay, so for the orange cheddars or the yellow cheddars, basically we add a natural color called annatto.
Okay.
Annatto color, and it just comes from a seed that grows in tropical countries.
And what about, the big question is, the holes in Swiss cheese? How do you get those?
Yeah, those are very interesting. So the technology of Swiss cheese includes the fact that we use certain microorganisms. certain microbes that transform the milk into acids and flavors, but also gas, carbon dioxide, basically. And that gas starts expanding inside the cheese, and that's how we make the eyes. We call them eyes of the cheese.
And blue cheeses, you know, sometimes I love them, they're delicious, but people are like, oh, it looks like it's mold. What is that? What is in a blue cheese?
It's basically mold.
Okay.
But it's good mold.
It is mold.
Yeah, it is mold, but it's good mold.
Right.
And it's a type of mold which one of the main that we use, it's called penicillin roquefort, like the Roquefort,
Like Roquefort cheese.
Yes. And basically we add it into the cheese, but we also make holes in the cheese. And we make holes in the cheese so the oxygen of the air can come inside the cheese, because these molds, they love oxygen.
Okay.
They need air.
Right.
So we open holes in the cheese so they can grow. When they grow, they create these greenish to bluish spots in the cheese, which are delicious.
Oh, it is delicious. I
Yes.
agree. So there's good bacteria, bad bacteria, good molds, and bad molds, right? And
Yes.
you can eat these good molds.
And everything that we make in the cheese making targets allowing the good bacteria or the good mold to grow,
Right.
and preventing the bad bacteria to grow so we don't get ill. The next step in cheese making is cutting the curd. So basically, we're going to get this whole gel and we're going to cut it into square pieces, so that we can start removing water out of the cheese. So in a big bath, I will have some knives, which will do the job. In the small sizes, I use a spatula and I basically start cutting through it so I can make squares. And as you can see, the whey or the water in the milk starts separating already. So you can see the whey is this greenish liquid in here, which is basically water, some protein, and a lot of sugar, a lot of lactose. The smaller that we cut this, so the smaller pieces that we make, the more water that we can release. So if you want a fresh cheese with a lot of humidity, let's say like a camembert, I'm going to cut this into big chunks. But if I want something drier, like a parmigiano reggiano, then I will cut this very small, so I can release more and more water.
So Mary Ann, my question is about the whey, W-H-E-Y.
Mhm.
All that water seems like a lot of waste. Is there anything you can do with the whey?
Yes. So originally, like many years ago, the whey was only fed to pigs.
Oh,
Yeah, so it went all into feeding animals.
okay.
But nowadays we know that we can use whey for many different things. Yes, there is proteins in the whey too, and we can coagulate those proteins by acidifying and heating up the whey,
Mhm.
and then we get a nice cheese like that. We can also concentrate the proteins into that whey and make it a powder. Powder is very popular within people that
Weightlifters? Or?
yes, weightlifters, sporty people.
Okay.
But it can be used for many things. It's especially used to increase the protein concentration in many food products.
So how much liquid did you start with?
Yes. So basically, I started with 3 liters of milk, and as I mentioned to you, the first objective of cheese making is remove water.
Right.
So we're going to start removing water by removing the whey,
Right.
which contain a little bit of protein, also lactose and minerals on it. So there are many ways to do this. In this case, we're just removing the, kind of the top layer, trying not to get any curds into it. Industrial cheese bag, there will be a drain
Okay.
from the bottom,
And it just comes up from
and
the
it just
bottom.
comes out. Yes,
This is just like that nursery rhyme, curds and whey. That's
Yes.
what you got here.
that's what you got here. And we get a lot of whey, because basically milk is mostly water. Around more than 85% of.
Awesome. This is so fun.
It is fun. Can you imagine? Can you see how much water we're
Yes.
moving out of the cheese?
It's unbelievable, really, how much whey there is in there.
And the next step is salting. There are many ways that we can salt the cheese. In this case, I'm going to direct salt the curd, but I could also add the salt into the milk. I could prepare a brine, which is basically a concentrated solution of salt. So it's water and salt, and I put my cheese into that brine so the salt penetrate the cheese. When I add the salt, I want to distribute it well. So I will mix my curds as much as I can. But it has many different functions. It controls bad bacteria, helps to decrease the growth of bad bacteria. It also kind of stops the good bacteria or slow it down. So once I distribute my salt, basically I will add into the cheese molds or hoops. We call them hoops too. Okay. And then cheese making, the next step will be to press the curd. And press the curd means that we're going to push or put some force into it so more water comes out of that cheese. Mozzarella is one of the most consumed cheese in the world. We call mozzarella one of the pasta filata cheeses. And these cheeses, basically what we need is that we need the rennet to do its job, but also we need acid. And this acid can come from the microbe, or it can come from added acid like citric acid or vinegar. So we have to bring the acidity to a certain level so we can add hot water and start stretching that curd.
And do you think mozzarella's popularity, I mean, it's delicious, but is it because we're also obsessed with pizza?
Yes. And I think the whole world is obsessed with pizza, and that's why mozzarella cheese goes into the 5 top cheeses in most of the countries around the world. And I want to show you how, for example, a camembert, a brie, a blue cheese is made in many places.
Okay, let's do it.
So in the other cheese, I show you how I remove the whey with a cloth, and then I kind of make that curd come together, and then I cut it again, I put it in my hoop. In the case of camembert and other fresh cheeses, I want to scoop my whole curd with the whey into my cheese mold.
Okay, so keeping more of the liquid.
Yes, keeping more of the liquid here. So basically, I am going to allow the mold to separate the whey.
Okay. So your container has holes in it so
Yes.
that everything can just come right out.
Yes.
Nice, okay.
And that way, the whey, this is funny. The whey will press the cheese.
Okay.
Slightly, very slightly. So if you want a camembert, this is not a camembert hoop, but it will be very similar to that. So it will be a tall cylinder, and as the whey goes out, it will go down, as you can see here. So I already feel this one. If I am making something like Balanced cheese, I use this folding hoop.
What kind of cheese?
Balanced. So that one that it's a French cheese, it's a lactic acid cheese, or it's a acidified cheese.
Okay. So, Mary Ann, you said that this is what makes camembert.
Mm-hmm.
So you put the curds in there, and then do they take it out and slice it? That's how we get all the slices?
Now, basically, there is so much moisture in here.
Yes.
The same weight of the whey will press the cheese down. So we will get more and more water,
Right.
and it will decrease in size because
And
there's
then
so much cheese. And then we'll get
That's
the
incredible.
height of camembert, yes.
That's incredible. And those cheeses usually have like this creased, fluffy, white texture. What is that?
This is something that we call bloomy rind.
Bloomy?
Bloomy, yes.
Okay.
And it's that fluffy white stuff
Yes,
that
fluffy.
you find around camembert or brie cheeses. This is caused by the growth of a mold called Penicillium camemberti.
Oh, no, like the Roquefort, there's
Yes,
a penicillin
Camembert.
Wow.
Yes. There are other molds that will contribute to the fluffy, bloomy rind, but mainly the Penicillium camembert
Okay.
that will grow, and this growth will become this fluffy white thing around the cheese.
Okay, so some time has elapsed, and now we're coming back to look at our hoops and see what's happening with our cheeses. So what's happening?
Yeah, so remember first we made like a semi-hard cheese, so
Yes.
we remove more water
Yes.
on the whey by heating and let those core pieces to settle and remove whey, and then we put it into this hoop, and then we press a little bit, only a little bit. It's a very short time right now, but we can already see. I got a piece of it.
Wow.
We can really see
That's incredible.
that we have like a stronger texture. All the curds have consolidated.
Yes.
I have some small empty spaces here which I want. Then I make a softer cheese where basically I cut my curd, let it set for like 10 minutes to remove the whey, and then I hoop it immediately with all the whey on it. And it has consolidated some, so I think I can remove it from the hoop right now, but usually I will wait more time.
So it's a long process to make
It
cheese.
is a long process, but
Oh,
we already have
look
a
at
shade.
that.
Wow.
That's great.
Right now it's very soft. You can see it by we cut
It's
it.
jiggly.
Yeah, it's jiggly. So it's like a jello. So if we cut it, we can see we already have a texture here. So we have the curds have consolidated some, but as you can see, when I cut it, immediately it starts releasing whey.
Yes.
Still has a lot of water in it. So I will leave it on my hoop for longer time so the water comes out, and then I can make something like camembert or brie with this curd.
Fantastic.
Today, Mary Ann made cheese in a crock pot so that we could see the process up close. But when Mary Ann really makes cheese as a food scientist, she makes it in industrial-sized vats. Let's take a peek and see where all the magic truly happens.
Okay, so in the lab we made a batch, like a benchtop cheese. In our pilot plant, we can make like intermediate size batches. In these cheese vats that you see here, they feed up to 250 liters of milk. In the industry, they will have cheese vats that feed 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 liters of milk. So this is pilot plant, so we can teach how we made them in the industry without wasting that much milk. So in there you saw me working on a crock pot, because the crock pot allows me to control the temperature. Here we control the temperature through steam and water going through a double boil here, so the water will go on inside here and the milk will be here. Yeah, this is where all the magic happened.